today with the illegal alien coming in, very sadly, from Mexico. And you saw what happened to that incredible, beautiful young woman. Should have never happened. Illegally in our country. We've had a huge impact, but the laws are so bad. The immigration laws are such a disgrace.
That was the president just moments ago. For the last month, Iowans have searched and prayed for a missing college student called Mollie Tibbetts. Today, tragically, her body was discovered. Police say their suspect is an illegal immigrant. He led them to the body in a cornfield, they say. Fox National correspondent Matt Finn is in Iowa for us tonight with details. Matt?
Tucker, Mollie Tibbetts' body was found in a cornfield not far from where I'm standing, and police say 24-year-old Christian Rivera has been charged with first-degree murder in the death of 20-year-old Mollie Tibbetts. Authorities say Rivera has been in this country illegally, and tonight we're working to learn a little bit more about Rivera's background. So far, we have learned that ICE has placed a detainer on Rivera and say that he is here from Mexico. Here's one of the lead investigators giving us a little more details on Christian Rivera.
We have confirmed with Homeland Security investigations that he is an illegal alien, and we believe he has been in this area now for 4 to 7 years.
Investigators say Rivera confessed that on July 18th, the day that Mollie Tibbetts went missing, he approached her and followed her while she was out on her jog. She spotted him and said, "Leave me alone, I'm going to call police," and took out her cell phone. Rivera told police he continued to follow her and then blacked out and doesn't remember what happened after that. And he came to in a rural area not far from here. Authorities say this morning Rivera led them to a remote location about 13 miles from Mollie's hometown, which is Brooklyn, Iowa. And that is where they found what they believe is the body of Mollie Tibbetts. Authorities say it was a surveillance video submitted to them that showed Mollie jogging and then Rivera's black Malibu car. That's how they were able to track down Rivera. Police tonight have not revealed the manner of Mollie's death. Police say Rivera did see Mollie prior to the day that he allegedly murdered her on July 18th. It's not clear how often he saw her, but police are going to also clarify for us in the coming days whether he may have been stalking her. Mollie Tibbetts was set to return to the University of Iowa as a sophomore this year. Her father, Rob Tibbetts, was on the ground here for 30 days pleading for information, leading to the arrest or conviction of anyone involved in the disappearance of his daughter. He even went to the university, or he even went to the Iowa State Fair to hand out flyers begging for information. And after 30-plus days, he has now learned that his daughter has been found dead. Tucker.
Matt Finn, for us in Iowa. Thank you, Matt. Well, as with the Kate Steinle case, it looks like a young American might still be alive if the country were simply willing to enforce its own federal laws. Luis Miranda is a former DNC communications director, and he joins us tonight. Luis, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks, Tucker. It's good to be on.
So the line that the rest of us are kind of forced to accept is that all immigrants are great people, better than us, in fact, and that if we suspect otherwise, we're bad people. If we point to evidence proving otherwise, then we're flat-out bigots and we should be quiet. Why don't Americans have a right to police their own borders and say, if you're not here legally, you have to leave now? Why don't we have that right?
Well, Tucker, I'm really glad that you're giving us the opportunity to have this discussion, because I think Democrats, Republicans, independents, immigrants, and those born here, all alike, we can agree that these heinous crimes have no place regardless of who does them. You know, just this week, we found out that a white man in Denver killed his wife and 2 beautiful young daughters. Also tragic, just as this young woman in Iowa whose death is a huge tragedy, and I can't imagine what her family's going through. So we can agree on that.
Here's the difference. No, I understand.
But there's a white man in Denver who doesn't speak for all white men either.
Hey, Luis, I didn't say anything about this man's race. This story is not about race. Don't make it about race. Stop that. I was saying this is about nationality and citizenship. This man had no right to be here. That's the difference. Lots of Americans commit heinous crimes. It's terrible. We put them in prison where they should be.
Exactly.
But people shouldn't be here in the first place. He didn't have a right to be here in the first place. He should not have been here. His presence violated federal law. You and your party tell us that we're racist for wanting to enforce our own laws. It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with whether we think laws are real. And some of us do.
There's more we agree on.
You don't.
There's more we agree on. We
Okay.
both agree that the immigration system is badly broken. It is horribly broken. And the people who
No, I
stood
don't
in the
think
way
that.
of fixing that have been oftentimes Republicans. And I'll give you an example of what worries me about this
no,
case.
you don't. This is just spin. It's really simple. I asked you a question. Please answer it. Why don't we, as American citizens, you, me, our neighbors, everyone, a citizen, immigrants or not, but who is an American, have a right to say, if you don't have a right to be here, you must leave? When did we lose that right? Why don't we have that right?
And I'll tell you when. When people who own big corporations, companies, who are inviting these people to come work, oftentimes at depressed wages, because they need the labor. Look, George W. Bush,
I agree with you
after Katrina,
completely. I agree with you completely.
wage laws and brought Mexican immigrants to help
Exactly.
with recovery and reconstruction after Katrina.
To his
So
eternal
there are
shame, and the
jobs
unemployment rate among
created to draw them.
No. Oh, no. You're absolutely right, but what you're missing is the African-American unemployment rate in New Orleans remains very high. Those jobs went to foreigners. They didn't help the Americans who need the help in New Orleans. And I can give you
That was
1,000
George
others.
W.
You're
Bush.
right. I agree. To his eternal shame. It's one of the reasons he has a lot to be ashamed of from his 8 years as president. That's one of the main things to be ashamed of. But I have still a simple question. You and I agree on that. So why don't we say to employers, you must verify the legal status of your employees, and if you can't employ them. And if someone's got a fake ID, that's a felony.
One of the things we tried to do under the
but you
Obama
don't believe in
administration was to
E-Verify.
expand E-Verify. No, actually, that was part of the immigration bill that we put
Universal
forward in
E-Verify.
2013. Yes, it was. It was. Absolutely. It was something that we
because
always
Democrats
included.
are totally against it now. Totally, because they take money from these employers that
The
rely
Gang
on
of
the
Eight
cheap
bill
labor you just mentioned.
included it, and it included border security.
not true.
It included verification. Absolutely, absolutely. That's always been
why
part of what we
right
tried to do.
now? Why? But it's not true. Democrats right now ask members of the Senate, the 40-odd Democrats in the Senate, are you for universal E-Verify? If you can't prove that your employees are legally in this country, you can't employ them. Are they for that? You can't
Tucker,
get a
during the
majority to say
Obama
that right now, and
administration,
you know that.
we set off drones
But I'm sorry, it's
to fly
2018.
from
It's
Texas
right
to
now.
California. We added Border Patrol agents. We agree that we need a safe and orderly border.
It didn't work.
What the disagreement
It
here
didn't work.
is how do you use your resources? And the problem that I have right now is that we have immigration agents chasing down moms taking their kids to school instead of looking for real criminals.
It's just
like the
silly.
one that
It's just
you
silly.
targeted at the beginning of this.
Here was
report.
a real criminal, and if we eliminate ICE, as Democrats are calling for, then how do we police our immigration laws? We can't. You literally represent a party that would like to eliminate immigration enforcement.
What I think is important is that as long as Trump and other Republicans keep politicizing immigration enforcement, it turns into this kind of debate that takes away from the reality that we need a safe and secure border. We need someone who is actually stopping the flow of illegal guns and drugs north and bulk cash south. We did that during the Obama administration.
I'm sorry. This is disingenuous.
So we're both in agreement in that.
The country's flooded with heroin from Mexico.
In that.
Yeah, okay.
We are both in agreement on that.
Not true.
But when you politicize it and you force law enforcement agents to go chase a mom going to school, taking her kids there, and raiding
Luis, thank you.
factories.
I appreciate it. Right. Okay.